Good day, everyone. I hope you're well. So, a few weeks ago, we started MilaniBongani M Health, and I mentioned it was about talking to medical professionals, talking to allied professionals. We've spoken to two psychologists. We've spoken to social worker. We intend to speak to psychiatrists, but also extend it to faith leaders as well as traditional healers in terms of mental health. But what we call today's episode, or this new series, is actually MilaniBongani M Health, You and I. So it's basically where we speak to non-medical professionals, the everyday human being, and it's more of a chat, talking about mental health, our journeys. I remember our journeys. So today with me. So again, just to remind you again, this is you and I. So it's basically just me and non-professionals, the everyday person. We're talking about mental health. We're sharing our stories, and then hopefully we learn about that. Today with me, I have a person that's very dear to me. His name is Nhlanhla. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
His name is Nhlanhla. I will allow him to introduce himself. Yeah.
Hi guys. Hi everyone. Hi everyone's going to be watching or listening to this. My name is Nhlanhla. I was raised a lot in Johannesburg. In Nkandla. I was born in Nkandla. I'm currently a credit business analyst. Well, I can't mention the company here, but I'm very family orientated, highly godly person, and I feel like I'm a survivor. I think that's one thing I can add about myself, and that's something I'm just going to be explaining to McNeil a lot, and we'll talk about that. We'll go into that and just find out how, we can all heal from what we've been through, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
So firstly, yes, you're a survivor. I think we spoke about vulnerability.
Yeah.
Understanding loss and grief, and we'll get into that. But I think let's start. You mentioned very family orientated. I'll start with myself. Like, a big part of who I am was shaped up about how I grew up, where I went to school. Where I went to school, where I lived. I developed a deep level of anxiety, a deep level of fear and insecurities that throughout the years I had to deal with. It has impacted my relationships across spheres, but it also has driven like sometimes a competitive edge inside of me,
which has helped a bit.
Which has helped a bit, but it also sometimes led to something we just spoke to a psychologist about, to burnout, for example. I found escape in like sport, whether it was rugby or hockey, or I used to dance as well. So
no way.
Yeah, but now I have two left feet. I don't know. As I got older, my feet got lefter. But basically, that has shaped me. So, like, how did your upbringing and where you from? How did that shape you and affect basically not just your mental health, but your mental resilience, or your mental being?
All right. There's a lot to actually unpack. It's a very good question, because especially when you speak to therapists, they tell you, how was your childhood, how was everything like that. When I grew up, from when I was conscious about everything, I had both parents at home. For the first few years, it was a bit happy. And I put that in inverted commas. And growing up in that environment, things started becoming toxic, between my parents, right? And that's something I'm just going to lead up to, of like throughout the conversation we're going to have. So it happened that there was a lot of back and forth in terms of their fighting. There were sometimes physical altercations that I never speak about to anyone on planet Earth. Literally, like, this is the first time I'm mentioning it. There's been a lot of drama growing up, but they gave me I would say like the best education, because they were very firm believers of that. I went to very good schools. I went to, especially my high school, JP Boys. I also was a rugby player, basketball player as well. I learned a lot through that environment. But the negative thing is, I feel like most of my upbringing was mostly done at school. So by that, most of the things I got taught were at school. I was highly naive growing up, I'd feel, because parents would keep things away from me. They would not mention a lot, and I think that's what also factors to what created my depression going forward over some time. So yeah, and then my dad leaving at an earlier age to go live back in KZN was not easy. Left me with my younger brother and my mom. He'd send money, but I basically became a father figure to him, and then it was just me and my mom. So in terms of speaking about resilience, Mac, it comes back to my mother's love, the love I have for my mother, the love I have for Harry, my brother. So it made me grow earlier than I should have, and it's kind of like really affected me in many ways when I started actually losing family members like that. So yeah, to just in a nutshell, that's what inspires me. That's my upbringing.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, there was a lot of fighting at home. So I would imagine that was very traumatic. You basically said you were raised basically by school. Your dad left. You had to be a father figure at a young age. You went through depression. So how did you deal with that trauma and depression? Did you go through professional help, or did you almost escape, like through sports? Like you mentioned, you played rugby, or did you speak to friends, or how did you, or to aunts or uncles? How did you actually deal with it?
Fun fact. Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a fun fact, but what would happen is that I was very ignorant towards the whole, am I depressed? Am I lonely? Do I have this deep sadness in me? Because I would distract myself through school, through sports. Was I talking to someone about it? No. And I think one thing my mom kind of tried to do is, I think she started noticing it from a very young age over that period of time, and she used to do a lot of Bible studies with me, reading the Bible, finding comfort in God, telling me that, your father's not here with you. He hadn't passed on at that time. Your father's not with you here, but you still have a father. She tried playing those roles with me a lot. And then I have a circle of friends which I still have till today, my boys. So that actually was a good distraction for me. Not necessarily that I spoke to them at that time, but it became, over time, like after high school, it started when I started being internal, doing some internal thinking. That's when it really came to me that this and this is happening, and then I'd speak to a few of my friends about it and get some advice. But I would honestly just say that it started exposing itself a lot when after COVID, or during COVID actually. So when COVID happened, business was down. When COVID happened, I couldn't graduate as well. When COVID happened, there was no food at home. There was no dad for support. But he was trying. I don't want to paint him too much in a bad picture, but that's what was happening. And then, loss. 2020. That's the year. I don't know if you want us to.
Yeah,
go directly into it.
So we can. Recently it was Nhlanhla's birthday, and then when he's alluding to loss, he made a speech that every birthday is very, 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 very important to him. And then I was like, why is it so important to you to celebrate every birthday? Because he said it could always be a loss. And then I'll just leave it there, and I'll let you explain why you mentioned that and how it led to your loss and basically where you are now. And then after that, I want you to culminate everything about the loss and about how tough it was during COVID and how tough it was being growing up. And then then is there more to do really for you to set you up for the future, because you're still a young man. You have a bright future. But let's go back to the topic about loss and what we discussed at your birthday.
Okay, so I remember we had a quick chat about it, because the reason why I said it could be your last, I had just moved out of the house within the same year of 2020. Life was a bit comfortable. I had just a few months before that, I just got a job. I had just got my job at that time, thanks to God and thanks to Skara. By the way, I'd never want to forget Skara Johannes. Hopefully, he never forgets it. He's my Lil Wayne to my Drake. That's what I always put it as. So in terms of the whole birthday thing, for me, it came from a place of. So my mom died 2 weeks after her birthday, and the weird thing about when I just moved out is that I sent her a 2-minute VN. Something just told me that day to wake up and just tell her how much I appreciate her and that I see every sacrifice she's ever done for me. How much she's had to go through for me, for education, for my support, to make sure that we eat. Because during COVID, she wouldn't show it, but there were times she would cook and only me and my brother would eat, and she wouldn't eat, so that we had food the next morning. So I sent that whole thing, and then she sent me a VN back saying, she's crying. She wasn't expecting this. This is the best gift she could have ever got. And then 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from my brother. My brother's like, something's happening. He's not sure. I go home. I get home and I find she's just not okay. I did not understand what was happening. And then she passed on in my hands. So that was the first time I ever saw someone die. She really tried. Because even speaking about that day kind of gets me shaky. But when her eyes rolled, I didn't know what was happening. And then we took her to the hospital. And then they just told me that, she's passed away. She's been gone for some, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So this whole time I was driving with a corpse, and that's one of my traumatic experiences that has shaped me till today. And then after that, a lot happened, because then I lost my father 4 months later, and then he had sent me a voice note 2 days before he passed away, just saying how much he would love to fix things and how much he loves us and my brother. And then he passed away, from the same sickness. And then a year later, I lost my older brother, and I feel like I had neglected him because of the things he was doing. And when he needed my help, I was like, but try get your life. I was trying to judge more instead of trying to help him. But then he died in a car accident. So those 3 deaths kind of everything really started taking a toll a bit. I started drinking a bit more after my mom passed. And after my dad died, it became a bit too often. And then when my brother died, then a lot of things started happening. The depression really started creeping in, because I didn't want to get out of bed. Trying to get to work was the most difficult thing I could do. I had so much deep sadness within myself. I could not, and it's something that I'm still working on till today. The whole experience for me, because all these things, when you have to bath someone's body, when you have to go to the mortuary and confirm your parent, and they all those pictures, they come back, you don't sleep. Now I start taking tablets, and that's so I think that's where my depression really got bad. And for some days I'd go 4 or 5 days without even getting out of bed, making excuses not to go to work, just so that I can, just do nothing. That's when I really knew that I was in it.
I remember, firstly, my condolences. I can't imagine what you've gone through. And then when you told me that story at your birthday, it was really, it took me really, it really took me aback, eh? It really took me aback. You're very, 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 very strong. You and your younger brother Harry, you guys are really, 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 really strong. But I remember when you came in today, you said about you watched the first episode about how Benedict spoke about grief. So my friend, I my advice, I think you must really seek, I know, when you were younger, you were, your friends were there, you hid behind the sports and the books,
the entertainment as well,
and the entertainment, the spirits. Then of course you said your mom also brought God into your life. But I really think you must see, if you haven't, you must really go and see a therapist. You there's Benedict, you saw the therapist who just walked out now as well. And there's more, but I really think you shouldn't carry this on your shoulders, because one day you'll be a dad as well and be a father, and then you don't want them to, you don't want the trauma to be
to pass on to them.
To pass on to them. It
Yeah.
might not be like you and your wife fight like how your mom and your dad fought, yeah? But it might just like come through in other ways.
That's
you
true.
know, like again, we just spoke about in another episode about how other mental stuff can impact, like maybe you work too much and you get burnt out, you know, and then you get burnt out, you get like hypertension, you know. So, you know, I think it's something that you really need to. I would really, as a friend, like recommend like don't take this on by yourself. Like and then definitely seek other help, you know.
Yeah.
And like you're a brave man, like because you've gone through a lot. Has it affected any of your relationships?
Yeah, definitely it has. It affected mine and my younger brother, because the passing of my mom, he dealt with it differently than I did. So he kind of wanted to be in a space of family and close family, and I was like, but those people were never there. Why you with them? And then there was a commotion with that, and then I was taking out my frustrations with him. Like, I'd come back from work and maybe I'd find like 2 dishes are not even washed, bro, and then I'd have a literal problem with that with him without actually realizing that I'm actually doing something bad, because he had just written his metric. Because when my mom passed, she passed on a Tuesday, we buried her on a Sunday. Harry had to write a maths exam on that Monday, and by God's grace he passed with a B. You know, I was shocked, but so he had all those fears about how he's going to actually get to school, how is he, and I had that fear as well. So that anxiety building, that all those emotions was creating a frustration, not knowing that I was actually taking it out on him. So he decided to, you know, take a few days and, you know, live with my other sister, which I met when we were burying my dad. Yeah, so he did that, and it really did affect. It did affect, because before that, me and Harry never even had one fight, not even once, in a whole lifetime, not even once. But when that happened, I realized that I had to grow from that, and I had to really mature and find help. So when that actually happened, because you're speaking about getting help, that's when I started getting help. I went to my manager at work. I was like, I need counseling. I don't think I'm okay. And I remember Nicole helped me. I can never forget Nicole. Nicole helped me. She really put me through. She did everything for me. So she put me under the healthy company, and those ladies helped me over time with the grief. And just remember, Mac, it doesn't actually, just because you go to a few therapy sessions, it doesn't actually mean that's it, you're gonna be okay. It's actually a long process that needs you to be patient. It needs you to love yourself. It needs you to not blame yourself, because I blamed myself for so much. I was like, why did I leave home? If I didn't leave home, maybe, you know, mom was not gonna die that way. Maybe I could have done something, you know. You need to really be willing to love yourself, because when you start getting depressed, you start getting anxiety, you start lowering your self-love, you start not doing the things that you used to do properly, and those things start affecting you. And then people around you start noticing it. You mentioned friends and that they start noticing that, dude, are you okay with this? Or your friends start, you know, having a conversation with you. You know, they don't want to directly, you know, come onto you like that, but they start, you know, little by little start asking you. And I realized that I needed to start working on the problem when my friend Bonga, he bought me a book which was surprising for my birthday called Letting Go. And then when I read the book, I'm like, this is what he's been trying to, he's trying to check, are you okay? That was his way of, showing. And I don't know if I'm talking in a lot of riddles. Can you understand?
No, right? I understand.
Yeah, so, but over some time, I call myself a survivor now, because I've told myself it can't beat me, and I'm better than it, and I will fight it with therapy, with my love for God, with my love for Harry, which is important. Love literally can make you push so many boundaries of yourself that you didn't even know you had. And just staying focused on knowing what I need to do, getting back into, because I remember I mentioned that I'd find excuses not to go to work. Go to work. Like, I'd literally put goals. I'd be like, make sure you have no absenteeism for like 4 months straight. And that thing really worked for me. I'm currently at a place now where I can talk about it, because over some time I could not talk about it without not having a tear, or not shaking, or not feeling overwhelmed, because having to relive those pictures every single day, eyes rolling, and my dad's coffin, dressing him up, and then seeing my brother, because he died in a car accident, so having to hold his head up when putting him in a coffin, and you could feel that his neck was broken. Those things, they're not good for the human brain. Then you start wanting ways to deal with it, alcohol and that. But and then I told my leader at work as well, Zweli, can never forget Zweli as well. I was like, I'm going through this. I have an issue. I might have an issue with alcohol. And then I went into some therapy, deeper, with someone who's very specific about alcoholism. And then, came back very strong. And all these things I was doing in private, not showing it to the world.
It's just two things.
Yeah.
I'll touch on the second thing first.
Mm-hmm.
I think spoke in the previous session and with the social worker about employee wellness, and then again how you mentioned how you reached out to two leaders at work. So again, I stress how important employee wellness is, and how important it is to be able to reach out.
That should be another topic. Sorry to cut off. That should be another topic that's actually discussed a lot in platforms like this about employee wellness, because people go through so much, and I feel like that employees should have that at work. They should have a comfortable space to talk, and that, because I think that actually saved me from attempts of suicide once or twice, which were never a part of my plan growing up. It never even occurred to me. I used to think that was taboo. So you stuck alone with your thoughts, and then you start having thoughts like that. And I would notice when I'm walking around the building, and I'm like, if you could just jump down here, all your problems would be gone. That was very dangerous. And then when Healthy Company helped me at work, it kind of lowered down that feeling. But you were saying, sorry to cut you off.
No, you didn't cut me off. You didn't cut me off. Yeah, but employee wellness really is. And there is a project that I'm working on, that I'm starting on employee wellness. But it's just a common theme that I've seen through all the interviews that I've done so far, that employee wellness comes through. And then that's something that's really important. The other thing is, when you talked about the other thing is about therapy as a journey, I think even in my own personal experience, if you break it, you set yourself back, man. Like, and I think, like especially if you deal with stuff like anxiety and depression, you know, or you deal with loss. So my loss might not be as severe as yours, but at that time, like, you know, we all have different degrees of loss, you know, and then sometimes, yes, like, you party a lot, you go out a lot, you know, you were trying to fight going to work. I used to drown myself in work, like, you know, that used to be like my same place. There's just even so much that I never, or I took leave only in theory, but I was still working because I just couldn't, like, it was, you know,
distraction.
So like the point you make about therapy is a journey, and like what I can say is that I would highly recommend anyone not to break it, because it sets you back, and like it sets you back, and and as the older you get, it ruins more and more and more relationships, and it's
even difficult to date.
It's more difficult. I date 1 month. It's hard for me to even do. I've lost. I've been in 2 relationships for 1 month with 2 great women, and I broke up we broke up, but I would definitely say it's because of the issues I went through. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the issues I went through, like insecurity, anxiety, fear. You know,
and trauma.
And trauma. And trauma because, like I didn't like it took me 8 years to get over someone, just because, and like for me it was like even love for me is trauma. You speak about how love is important for you. For me, love is traumatic, because sometimes I think, if I lose this person, then I'm gonna go back to, and I don't want to go back to that, and I don't want to go back to that, and I made all this progress, but it is a journey, man.
You mentioned the dating one. That's actually very crucial, because
no, but I'm taking my time. Like, I'm just like working on myself, working on the projects that I have, like the employee wellness, working on this project. You know.
But it's important to be happy, though.
Yeah, but I'm happy. But I will be happy. Like, you never know what happens in 2024. You know. You might get a wedding invitation, but
yeah, definitely.
But therapy is a journey, and being vulnerable. But you are in a good space.
Yeah, because of 2 things. So, one from the Bible, one from myself. So I've been practicing a lot of self-love, and it's not always perfect. So be consistent with your self-love. Number 1, and be consistent with your gratitude that I saw in the Bible, because I was trying to find out how do you actually find solutions to your anxiety, and then I learned over time that if you constantly you have a good attitude about your gratitude, and then you talk about how you happy with one thing, like for example, if you have a car, God, I'm happy that I have a car. I get to go to work with a car. Meanwhile, there's someone out there who's depressed, who still has to go in a taxi, and probably as tall as me and can't fit in the back seat, like I can't fit in the back seat. So it's those things, just having gratitude and having self-love, and being consistent with the therapy as well, because there will be times where you're going to have doubt days, you're going to have low days, you're going to have triggers, you're going to have days where maybe perhaps you have a dream about your grandma. You spoke about your grandma and scoring the try,
You saw that Benedict.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, yeah, that's my traumatic experience. You know, I used to blame myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the night before, we were watching Muvango. And then it was me, my aunt, my grandmother, and my cousin.
Yeah.
And then my two brothers stayed with my mother and my dad. And I asked my grandmother, what the time is. And you know, Muvango starts, I think it's around 9.
Yeah, 9 on SABC2.
So it was 9:15. Yeah, she says to me, it's 11:20. I was like, ish, something is wrong. But I'm like, ish. But then I go to bed, but I'm worried. Yeah, so for me, I should have known 11:20. And then when she said it was 11:20, and when we went to sleep, I promised to God, I was feeling uncomfortable, man. And then the next morning, I really wasn't feeling and then the next morning I made the oats and I went to school. When I came back, she was in the hospital for a long time. And then when she came, and then she couldn't speak, and then she came home and she was bedridden, and she couldn't speak. And I remember the one night when she died, I slept, I woke up at 3:00, and then I saw, and then they also said she's dead. And then for me, I couldn't deal with loss. So for me, it was I want to go play rugby, I'm gonna go play rugby. And then I'm gonna score a try. I remember I even went to some event even during the 2 weeks where you do that thing just to get away. And I only for me, my grief and my loss was delayed. I only experienced it later on, and I even experience it now as well. Sometimes I'm just I think I wrote the other day on some status that I wished I think someone sang it or someone said it, that heaven had visiting hours. If they could just give me 1 hour a year, I would be fine with that, just to visit just for 1 hour. But sometimes she comes into my dreams and it's real. I remember there were sometimes the dreams were so real. When I woke up, I was looking for her. I was I thought she came back from life.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I have those dreams where you feel like the person's actually still alive.
Yes, and then when you wake up, you're looking for them, and then you're ish.
Yeah. So I'm not crazy for it.
So okay. No, you do get that dreams. You think that person, you wake up and you're like, yo, Jesus, thank you for answering my prayers. But I think I read that there, and I was just 1 hour. But yeah, so you deal with loss, different kinds of loss, different kinds. I was also suicidal. I remember when I had to drink charcoal. That charcoal is not nice to get those pills out. That's why I don't like pills that much. Prefer therapy. So we all.
We'll go through that.
But it's important to stay consistent on the journey. The only difference I would say between me and you is that I'm not very religious. I'm trying to be, but sometimes I'm inconsistent, and I just give up. And then the self-love part is that I'm learning, because before I always used to be, we had a topic about codependency. I was so dependent, and I needed caretaking from so many people. So for me, I'm now in a very good space, as you can see. I'm not tired anymore. I'm relaxed. I'm doing the stuff that I want to do.
That's good.
Something could happen today, but I can't say it until I sign it. But good things happen, And I think, but one thing I want to, as we end it off, I want to applaud you for your strength. I want to say sorry on behalf of the universe for what you went through as a kid. The trauma, the fighting between your parents, your dad leaving, your parents dying, your brother dying, the way they died, how you experienced it, how at a point your relationship with your younger brother Harry got fractured, how you met your sister at your dad's funeral that you never knew, how you were brave enough to go to your bosses and explain about the issues that you had, and how you're on this journey with therapy, but also about self-love and God. So I want to applaud you. I want to also encourage you to keep on going, and you must know you're never alone. And then all the best, and thank you.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind words. And just one last thing from me. There's life in loss. That's one thing people find hard to accept. Something I found hard to accept, but there's actually life in loss. Meaning there's so much that you gain in terms of wisdom, knowledge, growth, and it tests your potential, how strong you can actually be. So whenever you take loss, regardless of death or maybe in life or maybe girlfriend or anything, there's always a life with that loss. I think, that's how I'll end it. It's something also Brad also showed me. I can't leave him out. Brad really did help me in a very difficult time. Good person. Very amazing.
Very good person.
God sent. I believe he was God sent. Very mature.
Good person.
But yeah, I think that's my words from me. This was actually a good therapy session. Low-key. McNeil. And it's love. I can tell how we look at each other. We're born in the same month, 10 days apart.
Love my brother.
I love you too, bro.
So guys, that is the first episode of MilaniBongani M Health, you and I. So where the professionals are not involved, but we just share our own stories. There's a different ending to how you ended with a professional. This is just the ending to say, keep on going, keep the journey. And I think what you've learned is, what I've learned today is self-love. There's life after loss. Find yourself in your spirituality, whether you believe, whichever religion you are, believe in.
Yeah.
Believe in your higher power. Surround yourself with the right people. Don't drown yourself in bad things. Yeah. Thank you for listening, and see you again.
Yeah, and shout out to the behind the scenes people. Lovely people, by the way. I just had to put it out there. Cool.
Thank you.